Live. We are live.
We are live.
I'm just fixing.
Hi, viewers.
I wanted to make sure that we were good on both pages that we're posting to.
Okay.
We're posting to the Pembroke Elections 2018 group under Pembroke Rubber Chicken Circuit, and we're also on Candace LaCroix Johnston's professional Facebook page. And today we're in the Church Street Media House studio interviewing Christine Reavie, local councillor running for re-election, and she wants to be elected in the city of Pembroke for our council. And we want to find out all about you. We want to find out your platform and who you are as a person today.
Sounds great to me.
Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you.
It's really cool.
Yes,
Do you want to start off,
definitely.
Candace?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've learned that you've served one term already, and now you're looking for re-election. So tell us a little bit about the 4 years that you've already served. What are your thoughts on it, your feelings?
Well, the first thing I'll tell you, it has gone by so quickly. I
Okay.
can't imagine. I mean, we all say time goes by quickly. Well, it certainly does. And just the learning that I have experienced in the 4 years, I love to learn new things. And certainly as a councillor, you are always looking at things you never thought you would look at before. I can tell you 4 years ago, I had no clue about what a road was made up of, how much it might cost to fix it. I just knew as a resident of Pembroke 4 years ago, yeah, we needed work on our roads, and I was committed to to persevere with the shave and pave that we'd been doing previously. Well, I've certainly learned a lot. I can hold my own now on road construction conversation.
Oh, I bet.
I'm not an expert, but I can hold
You're
my
close,
own.
though.
Mhm.
It's
So
a big project,
It
for
is
sure.
a big project, expensive project.
Yes.
So much to get in tune with. I've sat on 15 plus committees in addition to council and the 4 standing committees.
Tell us about those.
Okay, where will I start? First, I guess closest to council, closest to home, Police Services Board.
Okay.
Very interesting. The board is responsible for directing the detachment for community policing efforts. So for hearing from residents that, there's a lot of speeding on a certain street during a certain time, then we can direct the detachment commander to do focus patrols.
Okay.
Usually when there's a few tickets handed out, people start to get the message, and
Yeah, definitely.
you can look at things in that way. Different initiatives we've had in the past term have been the texting, don't text while driving.
Yes.
So there was a campaign out about that. And so those are the things we're involved in with respect to our OPP and our Police Services Board. The biggest, hugest amount of time I think I've spent on committees other than council would be I'm on the Board of Health. So that is responsible for Redford County District Health Unit.
Oh, okay.
Interesting to me because my father was a public health inspector for 35 years. He was one of the original ones when this unit actually started up. So a ton of legislation mandating public health. Big interest. We've had a lot of trials in our 4 years getting organized as a board, reorganizing the health unit. We've been without a full-time medical officer of health. So under the legislation, this isn't good. So we've been actively headhunting, trying to fill the vacancy. We have an amazing acting medical officer of health. So that's all coming together. A very busy board. Very
I
active.
bet, eh? And I guess you haven't found anybody yet. You're still looking.
We're still looking.
Good opportunity to advertise.
Yes, we need a medical officer of health, please. Dr. Cushman, Rob Cushman, he's been around public health for years. He's been amazing to cover. Right now in the province is allowing this to happen. So we're fortunate thus far. Meeting great other members on the board. There are some provincial appointees. They're very dedicated, plus other municipal representatives, mayors from other communities. So it's a good working group. And further to that, then there are subcommittees. So I chair one of the subcommittees, and strategic planning, stakeholder communication, very important, reaching out to different groups within the county, Pembroke, as well, to see where there's an overlap in service or where we can be a part of the services they're offering. And then there's, of course, the executive committee, and when the other committees want to deal with something, the executive will step in to do that. So so that Board of Health is huge.
Well, and that's such an asset to have you on council for the reason that you kind of have your hands in so many of these different areas of knowledge, and you possibly have the ability to connect a lot of these as well, right?
I am seeing huge connections, and I mean, really, I am pulling, deficiencies in our community that I would like to move forward on, health being a big one. I also sit on the county's health committee, and they provide oversight to homes for the aged. So for us here in Pembroke, Miramichi Lodge, as well as our paramedic services, emergency services. So that's a big thing. And you've been, I'm sure, following the news on our ambulances traveling to Ottawa over the past few years. So
we are live.
Chief
I'm just fixing.
Nolan is, continually working hard. We're so lucky to have
I wanted to
him.
make sure that we were good on both pages, that we're close.
Oh no, we just had one of our devices shut down, but the other device is still going, so we'll keep the interview going.
Yeah. So
Some of the fun ones, Festival Hall Consortium.
okay.
So I sit there with...
That would be fun.
Yeah, we have one rep from Petawawa and one rep from Laurentian Valley. So we've had a good 4 years. We were able to hire Rick Wharton as the manager for Festival Hall, and it's all been going beautifully.
And what does
He is amazing.
does he initiate the different events?
He does.
He does.
So he's got, as ratepayers for the 3 different municipalities, we pay it per capita to Rick, and that's his money. And if he's looking for funding elsewhere, as the manager or operator of Festival Hall, it's up to him. So if Rick wants to make money,
So you really must be the go-to person, eh? Like.
I have my fingers in a lot of
Definitely.
places. Handy bus. So this is cool too. And I do mean cool because as a board member for the handy bus, of course we have the polar bear dip every year to raise funds. Well, I have the last 3 years raised over $6,000 single-handedly, and jumped in the Ottawa River in February.
Oh, there's your commitment.
That is, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't like it, but I do it because, I would never ask somebody to do something I wouldn't be willing to do myself. And you would understand that being a military.
Yes, that's the way it is.
My military background has taught me lead by example, and that's what you do.
Excellent.
So you were in the military. How long did you serve there?
20 years. I'm
20
retired.
years.
Yes, I had a lovely career. It was amazing. I actually probably would just be retiring with a full time or full pension. But I met my husband, and the timing was right, and I said, "Yeah, I'm coming home to Pem and starting a life." So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I had no idea that you were in the military. This is where these interviews are so good because I learned so much about it.
Well, that's one of the things too that I'm telling people that when you have a city council, you need to have good representation of your residents, and I represent so much. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, sister, aunt, but I'm a veteran, and I think there are definite needs in our community. When we're talking about military families, we have different needs. I remember while I was serving, I had young children. One had severe disability, so I was trying to reach out to a community that I didn't really know or feel totally a part of at the time. And at that, back in those days, hate to say it, the MFRCs were just starting up, sort of gaining strength.
Yes.
So. I think that's something that the city really needs to look at.
Definitely.
We want to attract these young military families. We want to be able to provide for their needs, and it's definitely something to look at moving forward.
Well, for sure, because we're a neighboring city, and there are a lot of soldiers that come here. So we've definitely talked a lot about building up our recreational centers and
That's a huge
potential
one.
partnerships maybe? Can you
So
see
that's
that
huge
happening?
to me. Partnerships are everything. I'm all about that. And sitting on these different committees outside of just, Pembroke, where I'm meeting with mayors, councillors.
You're a good
Um,
voice.
Well,
To
we
connect
get along really well,
Yeah.
and it's important because a community cannot do everything on its own.
Yes.
We don't have the resources to do that. So partnerships are huge. City can always support different initiatives. So I'm talking Algonquin College, huge, the school boards, Indigenous community. You look all around, service clubs. There's so many different things going on in
Oh,
Pembroke
definitely.
and people wanting to do things. So if we can partner with them, it just benefits everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to go further in things, and bigger events and bigger developments and things like that. Max, do you have anything?
Sure, just in general, getting to know you more, Christine, what are some more aspects about the city of Pembroke that keep you rooted into this city, like family,
That's a good question.
work,
That's
history?
awesome. I love my city. I am a person who, I'm a big heart. I'm passionate about where I live. Many years ago, things weren't so nice, I think, as a person living here. And my husband would say, I don't know, when we're older and retired,
Yeah, it's a big
what
one.
do we want? And that's when we started the conversation of what do we need to make us proud of Pembroke. So of course my campaign is Pembroke Proud,
Yes.
and I really am. I can't believe the downtown revitalization. We've had these developers
Absolutely.
that believe in what our community can be and what a bright future we have ahead of us. And we embrace those people. I mean, they see what I'd like everybody to see.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And you need to be the change that you want to see.
That's
you need
right.
to lead by example and preach what you believe, and I know
Absolutely.
other people will join too. There's so many consistent issues in this city that everybody feels the same about that need to be changed. And it is very consistent.
It is, and when I look at all the platforms for all the different candidates, there's definitely the thread
Yes.
running through it, and I mean that makes me happy. First of all, that so many people are showing an interest in their municipality, in their city, but that we are all seeing the same thing. So it's just a matter of time before the city rises beyond what anybody's expectations would ever have been. We're at a point now where the past 4 years of council, we've set the stage. We've done the dirty work, not the pretty work, the dirty work. So in terms of economic development, which we're looking towards something happening at the waterfront, there's a lot that had to go into that. First of all, are we talking all of this land, or are we going to break it up into parcels with an either or? We needed to have environmental studies done, like all these different studies that the province say you must have done. It's ready. So now we're at the fun stage of putting it out there, request for proposals, looking for developers. This is what we have. What is your vision? What are you, suggesting you might want to do here?
Yeah, definitely.
And it needs to be a community decision. Council doesn't own that waterfront. Pembroke.
What
The people of
steps?
Pembroke does.
What steps is council taking to get the word out about? Say you guys want to initiate a change or initiate something. What efforts have you guys put out to get the public involved?
Okay, so right now we haven't reached that point where we need to do that, but we are with a recreation center / pool, whatever that's going to be.
Okay.
So as far as the pool is concerned, of course, there's another committee I'm on, joint recreation with Laurentian Valley. So they provide some funding towards city-owned buildings, PMC, PACC, the pool, the library. So we had the study done on the pool. we need to do something.
Yeah.
So initially there was a group of stakeholders brought together for a session, and that included community groups, neighboring municipalities, the college, school board, the hospital. We had a lot of people out to that meeting. And the first question was, as representative people, like for our area, what do you want to do? Do you want us to build a new pool, or do you want us to fix Kinsman Pool? And the first person that stood up went on a big conversation about, no, we can't just look at having a pool. We need to look at having a recreation complex. So that started the ball rolling. Great, and most people were in agreement with that. And so the next step then was to start just feeling around to where do we go with this? We know we need community consultation. What's the best way to go about doing that? So we opened up a conversation with the YMCA.
Yes, I heard about that this morning. That's great.
Yes, it is great. And they came up, they presented to John McCann and myself. He's chair and vice chair of recreation. And we were very intrigued then. We sort of, you know, the talk about community building that the YMCA is famous for, and you know, we got really thinking. And then the mayor and I went to visit Quinte West, the new facility, and
That's where I'm from.
are you?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, following the election down there as well, actually.
Nice.
Okay, good. Well, have you been to that Y? It's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. Yeah, it's quite new, and it's been a great increase. What did you find out?
So what we found out was a lot of the, so the municipality builds it. And the municipality, in that case, went to them and said, this is what we want. And so the Y, being the experts, is saying, well, if you want this 10,000 square foot gym, it's hard to fill that at all times. And you want to fill your spaces because that's revenue to keep, you know, to keep the organization going. So they talked them into just a smaller gym, but nice. And there was a beautiful pool, the warm pool in there, and it was packed. Like when we were there were people using all the different areas. But what I thought was really neat was in that gymnasium area, it was the morning, they had the seniors in there playing pickleball.
Nice.
Well, I've heard about pickleball, I've never actually seen it, and I know, speaking with our own folks at the senior center in Pembroke, that's what they want. They want pickleball courts.
Nice.
Yes.
So it was good to see that, you know, they'd sort of tailored the space to what the community is going to use it for. So that was a good thing to know. Then we talked about community consultation. How do you know what you need to build?
Yeah.
The Y, again, are experts in this. They use expert what am I trying to say? Research and the right people to get out there and do that.
Okay.
So last night at council, that's what it was all about.
Oh, okay.
They brought to us a memorandum of understanding between the Y, between the city of Pembroke, in which we are saying we want to use your expertise. We want you to put out a request for proposals to do this research in our community and in depth.
So that's the next step.
That's the next step.
Wow.
Nice. That's awesome. That's
So,
so exciting.
but it's exciting, but it took 4 years.
Yeah. Oh, everything seems to take time. I work at the hospital, and
Oh.
just to get a change of
Yes.
gloves sometimes it's like
I know.
4 months.
Yeah, so you know that's a big learning curve when
Yeah,
you join council for the first time, is the length of time it takes. to get things done.
Definitely.
There's
All these things
processes.
take time, eh?
Yeah.
That's really exciting. That you know that can give people hope, because I know that a lot of candidates have definitely talked about, like you said, everything's all kind of threaded together about bringing a recreational center. Because I can say definitely that even my husband, family, and I, we've gone all the way to Dundonald Hall just to utilize the gym in the winter time so that we're still getting activity in, you know, so.
One of my questions too, I guess, to David when we went to visit their facility was, you're right here beside Trenton, which has, again, another big Dundonald Hall type of complex, right? So you would think that you're competing for the military membership because they They have that available. He said you would be surprised how many of them want to come to the Y, because not only, you know, you've got all the facilities that you want and need. There is a space that has childcare while you're doing
That's
your,
a big thing.
It is. It's
Yes.
huge.
Definitely.
You know? And the one thing that impressed me, I don't want to go on too much about the why because it's just one of the possibilities. But things that impressed me were things like that, having the childcare, hiring the students, the kids that start out at the Y, and as they get old, they're apparently one of the biggest student employers that the community can have.
I did a co-op at the
Did
YMCA
you?
in Brighton, Ontario, where I grew up, very close to Trenton,
Okay.
and yeah, it helped me grow professionally, and the co-op led into a part-time job and other volunteer opportunities. So having the YMCA in our community is just going to be more resources for youth to grow into.
That's what we need.
Yes,
We definitely
absolutely.
need.
Yeah, as much professional development as we can offer.
Yes.
We need that for the future here.
Exactly.
But when it comes down to the city of Pembroke, Christine, what do you see as the main identity or identities of our city being that we should invest in or that we have been? I know there's been talk, we've focused on the show about it being a retirement city, also obviously a college town, and then also, what was the other identity, Candace? Retirement city, college.
Seniors.
Well,
That's retirement. So yeah,
college town, retirement, and then there was tourism attraction.
which I
Yes.
think is one focus that we need to, looking at for future. Of course, you want to draw visitors in,
Yes,
but you want to draw people in, residents, families, young. What I think is that we need to show the world that we are diverse, that we're accepting,
Definitely.
that we are inclusive. That's huge for me. That we have accessibility. I just want residents and all residents to be happy in their community, to love their community, to be proud of their community, to be nice to their neighbors, to know their neighbors. I live in a beautiful little neighborhood in the West End of Pembroke, and we all talk to each other.
That's
we
nice.
get out on the street pushing the brooms, and
That's nice. It's not a common thing, eh?
it's not, but I'd like it to be.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's when you have that community building, if you can create an environment where people are caring and sharing and building community. That's when we will succeed outside of our own city limits.
Definitely. Yes, and
Make the world take notice.
yeah, and centers like that.
Can be done.
Yes, definitely. Centers like that too can draw in all sorts of different people, and then there's potential for friendships and events like that to happen. Like neighborhood events or.
Exactly.
Which is it gives another opportunity in this town for people to connect and.
Mm-hmm. So the one thing I guess too that I wanted to mention when we talked a while ago about committees, big excitement in this past term was the establishing of the Civic/Youth Awards Committee, of which I was privileged to chair. So we were tasked with developing a program to recognize the stellar efforts of our volunteers, our
Awesome.
youth. We had an existing youth program. So we basically started with nothing other than the youth program was good, but what are we going to do for the civic portion? So we looked at a lot of programs in a lot of different municipalities, and we sort of picked and chose what would be, representative of our community. So we put together the program. We were so lucky to have the generous sponsorships that we have. So at no cost to the city, the awards are given through sponsorship. The best part though was on deciding what an award would look like, and you can go through the book and say, well, there's this, and committee didn't like that, and I was fortunate to meet up with Fred Blackstein one evening, and I said, hey, have you ever, when you built the sundial down at the marina, did you ever consider having them made in miniature, and he said, "Oh, Christine, well, we did, but there really wasn't anyone around that could do it." And well, there's a blacksmith up in Petawawa that works at their little village, and he, in concert with the Blacksteins, developed this beautiful miniature portage sundial.
Cool.
It is gorgeous. So that's what the award recipients receive. Will never be mass produced. They're all handmade and will never be for sale. So if somebody has one of those,
It's very special.
it's very special. So that was an honor. That and I really hope to see that program move forward to expand.
Oh, for sure. It sounds very beneficial. And so, kind of on a different topic, I'd like to know what is your take on the downtown? There's been a lot of talk about the traffic through there and ways to improve it. Like, should we make it a one-way? Should it stay a two-way but not have parking? What's your take on that?
Well, I'm not a traffic expert, but I certainly do spend my fair share of time on the roads. I live and work right in the city, and I'm back and forth many times a day. Personally, I believe that a one-way would be the way to go. One-way Pembroke Street heading east, and the other way Nelson Lake heading west.
Okay.
That is what I would like to see. The other piece, and I've always had this vision, and I'd like to see Prince Street closed, mini Spark Street Mall type of affair.
Oh, yeah.
Pedestrian traffic only, which you have a lot of
Yes.
people going to Giant Tiger,
Definitely.
crossing over to the parking area, and that poor old vacant large restaurant. It's been a whole bunch of things, but
It was Santa Fe.
yeah, Santa
Yeah.
Fe. It was
Yeah.
Joey's.
Okay.
Joey's only. It's been several things. Now I know that the building is clearly in rough shape, or people would be staying there. But the trouble is, it's too huge to be a restaurant, in my opinion. So what I envision is a microbrewery. Let's bring
Good
a microbrewery
idea.
right into downtown. We've got the college students that can work, cook, serve,
That's a
learn
good
to
idea.
brew. That's what and then of course you have the outside. But that's just my vision, and if I was a billionaire, I'd go at it. But I'm just hoping these are ideas people throw out. Will they ever materialize? Well, it takes the right person to come along and say, yeah, I would like to do that.
Oh, for sure.
I know Square Timber is